the Knicks better playoff opponent here. Miami, Philly. Tim, what's your read on that?
I mean, look, they definitely, I think, should prefer to play Miami, but, the Heat have not looked like the same team they've been in the past. Jimmy Butler has not looked like the same player he was last year. Now, he could always turn it up in the playoffs. We've seen that before, obviously, and nobody's going to count the Heat out until they're beaten, but this does not look like the same Heat team of recent memory. If Joel Embiid is sitting there, he is the reigning MVP for a reason, and even as he's come back from this knee injury, he's averaging 39 and 5. So certainly Philly would be a tough matchup. But look, I applaud the Knicks for going out and getting this 2 seed yesterday and putting themselves in position to get home court and stay on the opposite side of the bracket of Boston, the one team that they should be afraid of, like everybody should be in the Eastern Conference. And, they're going to have home court. It's going to be at worst a toss-up series. We'll see if Joel Embiid is healthy and ready to go. He sat out Sunday's game against Brooklyn. It was said to be precautionary from everyone I talked to, but let's see what he looks like. He looked like he tweaked that knee in their win Friday over Orlando. But yeah, if you're just saying, would you rather play a Miami team that sort of scuffled its way through the year or a Philadelphia team that's won a ton of its games when Joel Embiid's been healthy? You'd rather play Miami, but the Knicks have shown all year they're not afraid of anybody, and I think they've got a live shot, certainly, or better than that, obviously, to beat either of these teams.
Yeah, I'm with you. Go ahead, Steph.
I was going to push back on this Miami team isn't as good as anyone in recent memory, Tim said. What like last year? How are they any different from last year? I mean, they were in the play-in series. They were in the play-in.
When Jimmy Butler played last I know, but when Jimmy Butler played last year, I think I voted him first team All-NBA last year. Might have been 2 years ago. But when he played last year, he was at a different level. And so I'm not sitting here saying I predicted Miami to beat Milwaukee. I didn't. But going into that series, Miami, you felt like Miami had more of a chance because you felt like Jimmy was playing like a top 10 player in the league. He hasn't been playing like that kind of level this year. Now, maybe again, he will turn it up now and things will look different. But you look over the last week and a half, Miami had 3 games, home against Philly, at Indiana, home against Dallas. They win one of those games, they're the 5 seed. They lost them all. And Jimmy Butler, down the stretch in those games, didn't get it done in any of those games. And those were playoff games that they treated like playoff games. So, again, I understand why people would say, you look at the runs Miami's had as a lower seed the past few years and don't write them off. And I'm not saying you should just say they've got no chance to win. But I don't think they are the same team that we've seen recently. And they shouldn't, to me, strike the same sort of fear factor in teams as they recently have. And certainly, I think if you're picking between them and Philly, I'd take my chances with Miami as winning that game and seeing what happens.
Hey Tim, guys, I know you're a big Joel Embiid fan, but how many conference finals has he been to compared to Jimmy Butler? That's all I'm going to say.
And before we move on, guys,
there's no argument with that.
Can we isolate Bontemps on Butler? I just want to get that clip so I could send it over to Bernie Lee. Let's get that in front of Jimmy's face before the playoffs, and we'll see what happens.
I'm sure Bernie has already found it, even though it's just been said. So.
I'll make sure it happens for you, Ian. I'll make sure it happens. All right.
There you go.
Thank you. I'm with you, Tim. I'm Philly, and I would ask Steph for his prediction, but he is saving that for tomorrow's New York Post. He's going to have a column on his thoughts on who the better matchup is, Sixers or Heat. So be sure to pick up the paper, check it out online, wherever you get your New York Post on the app. Check it out there tomorrow. Mark Hale, you're